What's going on, guys? It's Greg from East Coast Eyes, and today we have a full review of the Joule Ares head. So this is one of the newest heads to come out on the market from one of the newest lacrosse companies to enter the market, Joule Lacrosse. They started with their round composite shafts, and now they've released their first head to go with it. They tend to do things a little bit differently, and there's a lot of cool ideas in this head, and it's definitely unlike other things that are on the market. So the Joule Ares comes in white only. It costs $99. You can find it at JouleLacrosse.com, and it comes in attack class and defense class. So essentially the attack class is a little bit lighter. That's what we have here. It's a little bit flexier, and would just be better if an offensive player gives you that flex that you would like to see in an offensive head over face-offs. The defense class is a little bit heavier and a little bit stiffer and bulkier, so it's better for poke checks and slap checks and will hold up a lot better over time. So for the weight, the attack class weighs 5.5 ounces. I weighed that against a STX Stallion U. The Stallion U weighs 5.2 ounces. So it is a noticeably heavier looking head, but it really isn't that much heavier. 0.3 ounces is not a ton. You're really not going to feel that all that much. So now let's get into the head's features. So first off, we'll start with face shape. So it has an X-Spec face shape. That means it's legal for all levels of play and only comes in X-Spec. It has a very high pinch and flare, and the head looks a little bit wider than most heads would because it does have a little bit of sidewall flare. So when I say that, I mean the bottom of these side rails and the inside are flared in a little bit more. And you've got this taper up on the top rail so that it kind of, a lot of people catch the ball on the sidewall sometimes if you miss it by a little bit. This is tapered inward with an inward angle, so if it hits it, it should fall right into the pocket. So that makes it look a little bit wider than it actually is. But the sidewalls come pretty straight up for a pretty high pinch and flare, which is really nice for stringing a higher pocket, which is what a lot of players prefer these days. And then it comes out very aggressively to the widest point of the head, the 6.5 inches. It's great overall, a really nice looking face shape, kind of similar to the CEO or another head with those really tall sidewall rails and aggressive pinch and flare. Getting into the sidewalls, this is where things get a little bit more interesting. You can clearly see this mid stringing rail with string holes in it that we'll get into. It's got some cross brace support, and they really maximize these supports and the sidewalls to create flex for offensive players. So when you shoot, the head's going to condense a little bit, flex, and make sure the ball comes straight out the middle. So we're going to get into those midstream rails a little bit later. It's got some textures, some mixes between mattes and glosses. It says Joule Lacrosse, has Ares down the bottom, and some design features, some cutouts down there on the throat. For the scoop, they went with as flat of a scoop as possible, so you can pick up ground balls further along the scoop, so it's not so pointed. So it should be able to sit very flat on the ground and scoop ground balls up very easily. For the bottom shape, they borrowed some technology from golf in their chipping wedges, so it'll actually hit the ball and pop it up a little bit into the pocket, making ground balls a lot easier. So for string holes, there are 6 at the top. They've got 4 very large ones, and I know that they definitely want to make sure these can fit leathers, and they definitely do. They can easily fit a double triangle top because these are probably the largest top string holes in the game. Then they've got a multitude of sidewall holes going down the bottom rail, 3 large ones at the top, and great sized round ones going all the way down, as many string holes you could possibly want. So for this pocket, it's pretty easy to string a great mid pocket. Didn't have any problems doing it my first try. It threw really well. 15mm East Coast mesh sits right in the middle. It's got a great long smooth channel for a really smooth release, full college legal setup, and this thing was throwing dimes. I didn't have to adjust it very much. It just throws straight, consistent, and accurate, and was really easy to string. So now this is where things get interesting. They've added a mid stringing rail. So this isn't the first head to have a mid sidewall string rail. There's been a couple, like the Brian Asset, and there was also an STX head back in the day that had them. But this is probably the head that has done it the best out of any others that have tried. So essentially the idea is that by stringing up in the middle of the sidewall, you can have more of a mesh pocket and still have it be legal. So you can see the mesh actually starts all the way up here, but the ball only has to sit under the bottom sidewall. So I kind of went straight to the middle rail and strung it pretty much just as I would a normal head. 2 knots to pull the mesh down tight, and 1s and 2s to create the pocket. And overall it formed a really nice looking mid pocket. By stringing it to the inside of the middle rail there you get a very, very tight channel, almost too tight, but it's definitely going to give you more ball control and less rattle because that mesh is pulled up into the inside here. and the ball has less space to go horizontally. So definitely more control. It was a little tricky to string, but probably the easiest mid-rail stringing that I've ever tried. I've tried a few of them in the past on the older heads, and this was certainly the best design, and that's because you can see here that you start up on the regular sidewall holes, and that middle rail kind of dips on either side to meet the bottom rail, so you can make a gradual transition to the middle rail and then back to the bottom to finish and start your sidewall off. So real quickly, we'd like to do a quick giveaway for you guys. We're going to give away the testing model that we used. This is one that I strung up and tested and really liked. The pocket's great and it threw really well. So to win, all you have to do is like this video and comment down below what you think of the Joule Ares head, and we'll pick a winner next week. So overall, I really like the Joule Ares. It's definitely not for everyone. It has a unique look and it's definitely different, but it has some cool attributes such as being the first head to offer an attack and defensive class with different stiffnesses and the mid string rail. But overall, it strung up well. It was great to play with. The non-offset design might throw some people off to begin with, but that's becoming more and more common and actually does lend to a little bit of a quicker release but less feel in the pocket. So let me know what you guys thought of the Joule Ares. Let me know if you strung one down in the comments and how you liked it. Make sure to like if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't, and have a great day.